everybody, and welcome back to the internet's best reactions. Today, we're talking about the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Formula One this year does not stop giving. I do not know how I'm going to emotionally prepare myself for the end of the season. We only have 3 races to go, and then it's done. And then it's the off-season, and then we start crying. But we will think about that another day. Let's dive into your reactions from an amazing Brazil race. Right, let's start at the very beginning, as we always do. At CFC_Josh03, Bottas for the Red Bulls on lap 1. Yes, well, we had so much going on. Of course, we had Hamilton and all his penalties, and Verstappen touching his rear wing but getting a fine. But basically, it opened the door for Valtteri Bottas to turn up, and he did, and he won the sprint race, which allowed him to be on pole. And we thought, you know what? He can do some decent damage limitation for Merc. And then by turn 4, lap 1, it was a Red Bull 1-2. Obviously, it worked out okay in the end with Lewis Hamilton doing an incredible drive, but Bottas at that point was probably wanting to go to Alfa Romeo immediately. At MopLive95, Red Bulls approach Bottas, right, that's enough. I won't do any more Bottas memes like I did last week. There was a lot of other things going on, but yes, Valtteri did leave the door open. There were hundreds of memes of that. Unfortunately for Bottas, didn't work out, but he still got a podium, so, you know, it was all right. At Shoematman, Hamilton, that Mercedes in the hands of Lewis Hamilton was absolutely ridiculous this weekend. I was reading that they're basically stressing the engine more than they would do normally because, of course, there's not that many races left, so they are putting it to the absolute limits of its capabilities, which may backfire, you know, in the last race of the season perhaps, but right now they are just whacking it up to 110%, and my God, how quick is he in a straight line, just clearing cars left, right and centre. It was ridiculous. Now, that wasn't the only lap 1 collision or incident. Of course, Lando Norris as well, getting an amazing start on the medium tyres. I think everybody was bar Sonoda. That worked out well for Yuki, didn't it? But there was the collision between Lando and Carlos. The besties coming together. And Lando just toned in a little bit, didn't he? At Bart Pod, Netflix seeing the Lando versus Sainz collision. Yeah, for whatever reason, they decided to go with this storyline that these two have some sort of rivalry last season, and it just does not exist. But you best believe if they continue with that storyline, they're milking that. Okay, no, I said there wasn't any more Bottas memes, but there is one more, and it's quite funny. At Electrify, Bottas defending on lap 1. Moving on. At Hurricane Barca, Hamilton versus the field the last 2 days. Yep. A lot of straight line speed. This is right. I need to talk about this because people, I cannot stand the amount of people that just diminish Hamilton's achievements this weekend because he has an illegal car. Well, firstly, he doesn't have an illegal car, otherwise he wouldn't be able to drive it right now. Of course, Red Bull might lodge some sort of protest and maybe there is something there that hasn't been found, but that's just complete speculation. You can't just be going around saying he has an illegal car when right now he does not. Yes, his car was very quick, but as I've just mentioned, he turns up the wick and he was very, very quick, and they are potentially risking a failure later down the line, but who knows? It's just very frustrating because, we can see that this is genuinely an amazing title battle between Verstappen and Hamilton, two of the greatest of our generations, coming together, young versus old, is awesome. But please, just when you go on Twitter, just think about what you type. That's all. I just don't think there's a lot of thinking going on. At Annoyed Tuga, Yuki on giving space to Stroll. I just mentioned about how well that went for Yuki, sarcasm alert, and just dived up the inside of Stroll, didn't he? Just like it was on the F1 game, just sent it. Expect Stroll to just give him some sort of space. Didn't. They came together. 1 million pieces of carbon fibre then hit the track, and that caused a safety car, didn't it? At Formula Petra, I thought this was quite a good meme actually. Track cleaners right now. There were a lot of VSCs. There was a safety car as well, of course. Lots of little nipping and little, front wing here, a bit of M plate there, and genuinely, I think the track cleaners absolutely earned their wage this weekend. At Osamundo_, speaking of front wings, etc., having problems, Uralkali's, I don't know if even that's the right way to say it, CEO, after mixed wing got stuck on the perfect place for TV. Genuinely, it just stayed in the absolute prime position. Beautiful product placement. If Haas are going to be 17 laps off the pace, at least get their sponsors some sort of airtime. Big brain thinking. Now, I thought this was very interesting indeed. At Gareth Rees 9, Perez, Max, can you slow down to give me DRS to defend against Lewis? There were so many memes for this as well, but genuinely, I like the way Sergio asks, and he doesn't ask in a way of like Valtteri, where he'll kind of almost like is scared to say something. Sergio's like, tell Max to slow down, will you, so I can have some DRS. There's no kind of sort of deliberation, it's just asking for it. It didn't happen. Max continued to pull away, but I appreciate Sergio thinking this is the only way I'm going to keep back Lewis Hamilton, who has 1,000,000 kilometers an hour over him. At Green Graphic 2, Hamilton when Checo fights back. Of course, a great battle between Hamilton and Perez. Hamilton all over the back of Sergio, trying to get through. Eventually does get through into turn 1, and then Sergio goes, you know what, I'm going to have some DRS down towards turn 4, and takes him back, and that was actually beautiful. But I think Martin said quite rightly in commentary that I think he spent a lot of his battery then to get back past, and then he was very vulnerable the next lap. But no, nice to see Sergio putting up a fight. Nice to see as well that no sort of teammates are crashing into the opposite team's championship contender, because I don't want to be on social media if that happens.
Who has won? Tweet of the week!
Right, tweet of the week time now, and this made me laugh quite a bit, and of course, it's a Cars meme. It's just such a good go-to. The winner is at @RDone0. Lewis means business. It sums it up beautifully. I don't think I need any more explanation. That is very well done, Ardone. I didn't mean to do that pun, I'm sorry. Oh my god, I've rhymed as well. Well done! At Mr_Blackburger, Stroll right now. I mean, Lance had one of the worst races after being on the grid, getting interviewed by Martin Brundle for what he was saying was the first time ever. He was buzzing, he was expecting like a really chaotic race. It was chaotic, but not in the way that he was probably hoping, because most of the chaos came to him, and eventually his car just basically fell apart. At Levitius_, Stroll's car. Yeah, I felt sorry for Lance. He literally just nothing went right for him. So, doesn't matter. Doesn't have to wait that long for the next Grand Prix, so I'm sure he'll get over it. At Neilshah248, how many safety cars do you want? Brazil GP, yes. There wasn't as many to actually throw too many spanners in the works, though, was there? Of course, there was the first one, which allowed Hamilton to close up. But apart from that... Oh, no, actually, no, I say that. The VSC helped Bottas get on the podium, so that could be an interesting little swing in the Constructors' Championship. But apart from that, there wasn't a huge amount of changes, I guess. At Tilka Tracks, pit lane performance, the first useful AWS graphic. Okay, I know we do put a bit of slander on AWS's name with some of the things, you know, the car performance out of 10 stuff and the tyre wear graphics, not great, but they have come up with a few good ones. I like the braking performance stuff, and they're not as bad as, you know, that tweet potentially suggests. But yes, the pit lane performance one is very nice. I like that a lot. You know, these are the ones that are tangible. Not that Verstappen is 9.4 out of 10 in turn 5. Like, what does that mean? At Morgan J18, Williams pit crew in 2019 and 2021. Yeah, that was a bit weird, wasn't it? Almost deja vu. Of course, 2019, Kubica coming out right in front of Verstappen, who was the race leader. This time it was Latifi coming out just ahead of Verstappen. I'm surprised Williams didn't just go, we've come into the pits with the literal championship leader behind us. We're not fighting for anything. I say that, but as I say that, I realise they have a Mercedes engine. So maybe they didn't want to slow it down at all. At John_Rolfs, Verstappen to Latifi on the pit exit. I'm sure he was a little bit angry, old Max, after seeing Latifi just feed right out in front of him again, but didn't lose too much time, and it didn't really cost him anything in the grand scheme of the race. But I know, yeah, because we need to talk about the big old, incident. I'm going to call it an incident. It was, even though the stewards didn't investigate it. Stay tuned. But before we do that, at Tory Grace Tory, pit lane alarm. Yeah, that... It's the loudest thing in the world, isn't it? Why is it... I mean, I get the reason why it's loud, but why is there a microphone under the alarm and then it just comes through the television? It's just not necessary. At Dave McKeegan, Mercedes, do you want medium or hard? Hamilton, medium. Well, he didn't say medium. He did some, a thing on the switch to say that he wanted medium, and then Mercedes just apparently ignored him and just put on hard tyres. Didn't tell Lewis that, and then Lewis obviously questioned it and, it was cleared up. But I just found it funny that Mercedes didn't give him some Morse code back to be like, yeah, we're not actually going to go with that. Sorry, mate. This one's good. At Chloe D_CD, the stewards every time something happens between Hamilton and Verstappen. Yeah, only noted though, wasn't it? Only noted. Let's talk about it, shall we? Yeah, we're at that time of the video now, of course. Verstappen was trying to hold on to Hamilton, giving you some context in case you haven't watched the race, although why are you watching this if you haven't watched the race? But Hamilton, kind of sold the dummy into turn 1 a few times, which allowed him a great run down towards turn 4, and eventually he got to the round to the outside, and essentially Max Verstappen, I would argue, didn't really turn in to turn 4. He knew exactly what he was doing. Hamilton was just inching ahead. Max, of course, just sends it into the apex. They both run off, and then the stewards were not investigating it, apparently, which I found a little bit bizarre. I'm not saying it deserved a 5-second penalty, although I feel like maybe if they had properly investigated it, maybe, but there was lots of things to take into account, the dirty line, etc., etc., so I like the fact it was also left to be raced, because I genuinely didn't want it to be settled by a 5-second penalty. I wanted another 15 laps of action. At Speak Kate Ward, Verstappen and Hamilton without crashing. I know, I was exactly the same. Genuinely shocked, especially with that little cheeky dive Max did into turn 4, which we've just spoken about. I am so surprised they did not come together, because they have so much running form of it, but to have great action, no crashes, just like Austin, it was brilliant. And that's so much better than them just mounting each other in, Monza or whatever, and then it's just, there's nothing else to watch. Of course, after this incident, it was then FIA Team Radio Central, where Mercedes and Red Bull were both saying their opinions, and we get to hear it all. At Aaron Breeding, Michael Massey is the perfect customer service representative. The sassiest customer service representative. I don't think Michael would keep his job very long if he did that for another company. It's just, I don't know if it's necessary, Michael. He's just so sarcastic. It's quite funny to listen to, but at the same time, you're like, is it necessary? At funnyf1_ Toto Wolff right now. I'm sure Toto probably learnt not to send an email, and oh my god, when, of course, Lewis did get through, that meme of him doing the little point and how, intensely he looked down the camera was a bit mad. I literally felt like Toto was in the living room with me. At Infor_Mueller1, Michael Massey right now. I don't think he hates his job. I think genuinely he secretly loves these big moments. Of course, one, because he is in the spotlight. Michael Massey, FIA Team Radio, is going to give sass to them, and he becomes the star of the show, although I'm not. Let me know in the comments, do you like the way he talks to the teams? Do you enjoy it? Is it good entertainment? Or would you rather he be maybe a little bit more respectful, maybe? A little bit less sarcastic? I don't know. I quite enjoy it too. So Max and Lewis fighting a lot. Eventually Lewis gets through, past at turn 4 before even the corner really. At Formula Ryan 21, Hamilton leads. He is inevitable. That is just insane. He had a 25-place grid penalty this weekend over the course of 2 races, going from 20th to 5th, back down to 10th, and then winning the race. It just needs to be admired. I don't care if you think he has a 19-second a lap quicker car, although if you had that, then fair enough, it's not that good. But let's not speculate. Let's just admire a great performance. Max has had some amazing ones as well. Both of them, I think, deserve the championship. Max, of course, has had a bit of bad luck, so I still want to see Max win the championship, but I also want a finale because that's just awesome. So yeah, let's just appreciate a great performance from Lewis. At _Tuscavo_, any excuse to include Dragon Ball Z, by the way. Absolutely loved that show as a kid. Hamilton and Verstappen since the first pit stop, just constant battling. We loved it all. 2 titans. Give us more in the next 3 races. At F4H_Le Chair, Lewis Hamilton today. It did make me think of that 0% AI challenge in the F1 game. That was pretty much what it was for most of them. Of course, Verstappen was the big boss that he took a little bit longer to get through on, but everybody else was just a breeze. Now, there was another battle on track at Kushajane04. Sorry in advance for butchering that. Ocon versus Gasly. That was... supposedly, these two don't like each other. I don't know how much truth there is to that. But either way, it got pretty intense, didn't it? I was surprised those two didn't come together. Gasly, of course, came out on top. But, I was expecting some sort of safety car. This was a funny moment towards the end of the race as well, when Max got warned for basically weaving in front of Lewis. At Dinner1, Red Bull black and white flag for weaving on the straight. Max, yeah, perfect. Say hi. It's just, oh God, there's just sarcasm everywhere. The whole Grand Prix was just full of it, and I quite enjoy it. It's quite, as I say, like with Michael Sassy, it's a bit unnecessary, but at the same time, it's good entertainment. At F1_Eloy, this is basically just to include the Toto meme. Get in there, Lewis. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? That is going to be a meme we see for a very long time, I promise you that. Just before the end of the race, actually, maybe like 10 laps to go, Toto came over the team radio and told Bottas to go after Verstappen, which I found very weird. Chris Gaming NL comes in with Valtteri, go get him. Valtteri is 9 seconds behind Max. Valtteri, I'm sure he's probably like, how far is he? Oh, he's that far ahead. Why would you tell me that? Well, I think he was quite close by the end, so maybe it wasn't as far-fetched as we all thought. At Race Feeling, Verstappen, and then Hamilton. There's been so many of those memes coming up, but I absolutely love it, and I think that sums up the race quite nicely. Okay, social media team championship time now. Let's dive into who has won points at the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. In third place, we have Scuderia Ferrari coming in with... I was quite shocked, actually. I'm not a massive Taylor Swift fan, but I know a lot of people are, and it absolutely flew because they basically made their own album cover with the drivers, which I really appreciated. Scuderia Ferrari just turned up a notch in the old social media recently, and big fan of that, so well done, 1 point. In second place, we have Alpine F1 team. This is amazing. I mean, you could just read that. It's just, there was so much going on social media, so much Twitter refreshing, so many memes. There were so many memes. But Alpine came in clutch with a very good one as well, and you win 2 points. Now, of course, we know there's a big fight between Mercedes and Haas in the team's championship, and with Alpine and Ferrari scoring points, there's only one more team that can, and the maximum points goes to Haas F1. Replying to Mercedes, actually, which is, I guess, controversial. No, it's not, but either way. To the grid, let's see what this man can do in today's F1 sprint. Of course, Lewis starting at the back, and then Haas join us. Oh, the self-burn. I absolutely love it. Haas, you're flying at the moment, and it is going to go down to the wire. I love this social media team championship. That's 1 point for Scuderia Ferrari, 2 points for Alpine F1 team, and 3 points for Haas F1.
And now it's time for Race Rundown with your host, Matthew Gallagher.
Here we go then, race rundown time. The finishers of the Sao Paulo Grand Prix were Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon, Alonso, Norris, Vettel, Raikkonen, Russell.
Okay. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon, Alonso, Norris, Vettel. Hamilton, Verstappen, Bottas, Perez, Leclerc, Sainz, Gasly, Ocon, Alonso, Norris, Vettel, Raikkonen, Russell, Giovinazzi, Tsunoda, Latifi, Mazepin, Schumacher. That'll do. Non-finishers, Ricardo Stroll, Stroll, Ricardo Stroll. Done. Right, that is it. Thank you so much for watching the internet's best reactions to the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. This championship is going down to the wire. Please leave a like if you enjoyed this episode, and thank you so much to Fanatec as well for sponsoring this series. As always, I cannot wait for the last 3 races of this season. It's going to be amazing. Hashtag WTF1 if you want to get involved and potentially be in this series, potentially win an amazing Fanatec prize as well. I cannot wait. We'll see you very soon. Podcast, as always, on the Monday. We've got lots of other content coming, so please do subscribe, and we'll see you very soon.